True Wellness. It's Wednesday night. I regulated at 5 minutes to 9 tonight that we're doing our Facebook Live. So I know I missed last week. I can't remember why, but sorry. Oh, I did miss last week.
We toured.
Oh, that's why we did a tour. There was a week before I switched. Anyway, I'm glad to see y'all. Glad to have you here. Let me know who's here. Brianna's going to help me with that. I have 2 guests helping me tonight because there's a subject matter that it's interesting because I realized a couple days ago when I was explaining this for like the 3rd time in 3 days that I should probably do a Facebook Live on this. So I wrote it down on a Post-it note, and I actually know what I was going to do this on tonight. And then 2 events happened. One is our newest member, Sarah, who I told you about last week. She is wearing shoes. I have known Sarah for 3 years, and I think only about 4 months of those did she wear shoes. She never wears shoes. Doesn't matter the time. We're going to talk about that and why. Number 2 is I torqued myself, not twerked. That's different, right? Twerking is different. That was just for you, Julie. That's not twerking. This is twerking. I don't know what's twerking.
Still no.
They're all laughing at me. They're all under 30 and they're all laughing. Anyway, I'm not a twerker.
You have Johanna Curtis and Kristen Kelly watching.
Johanna, I'm so sorry I just did that because she's a professional dancer. She was actually my dancing instructor when I was a little girl, and I think I just embarrassed her for anything she ever taught me dancing. Johanna, thank you for watching, though. That was very sweet of you. So, I hurt my back kind of yesterday, and it really hurt my fascia, and it took a rib out. But the reason that I want to do this, and I'm going to explain those stories in a second, but there's 3 ways to prevent bodywork, and here's what I mean by that. When I got involved in this industry 23 years ago with Ian, I was in pain all the time, and I lived on painkillers and muscle relaxers. And he got me on this journey to change my diet, change my nutrition, open up my lymph, detoxify, blah, 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 blah. So I start doing that, and I'm pain-free, and I am drug-free. But let me tell you, I am princess in the pea. If my bed isn't just so, if my pillow's not just so, if my backpack's not just so, if my purse is not just so, if my shoes are not just so, I have to go to the massage therapist chiropractor. I was at the massage therapist every single month for well over 20 years, and I'm an hour-and-a-half massage person. Chiropractors, I probably saw 10 to 12 times a year, acupuncturists about the same. And they were my team, in addition to Ian, to keep my body moving. And whether I did yoga or I worked out, I would hurt myself, I'd go to these people, they would undo it. And then I met our friend Dr. David Pascal about 15 years ago. And Dr. Pascal introduced us to this world of biological medicine. You ready? There's your kudos, David, Dr. Pascal. I know you love him. So he is the chiropractor for our U.S. track and field team. And he says this thing to us years ago about cramps and back pain, because Ian deals with a lot of pain. He's not a chiropractor, but he sees a lot of people with unexplained pain. He's been very successful at helping a lot of people with pain. And not only just me, but David said, Dr. Pascal said, if you have somebody with chronic back issues, then look at their shoes and look at their last. So I was like, the last? What's the last of a shoe? Sarah, can you be my demonstrator?
Sure.
This is Sarah, our newest addition to True Wellness.
Hello.
She's a yoga instructor. Here, just lay down for me. So, Sarah's wearing shoes. Why did you not wear shoes for a little bit? Tell us.
I read a book here that you had on your shelf.
Oh, God.
Earthing. It was called Earthing, and it basically just talked about that we can rid our body of a lot of chronic and silent inflammation, getting rid of our shoes and just connecting to the earth because of grounding free radicals that cause inflammation, and overall just connecting to the earth that's around us. And we wear pretty shitty shoes,
and it's very funny because it was really weird. I looked at her all day today, kept looking at her shoes, going, "Why the heck is she wearing shoes?" It's so bizarre to watch her wear shoes.
Trying to be professional.
She's trying to be professional. She's good. So a last is the bottom of a shoe. And Sarah is in, you know what I need is this will work. Sarah is in a Skechers brand, and if you take the bottom of the shoe and go right to the top and make a nice straight line, if the middle of your shoe is at the top of your foot, that's called a straight last. These are curved last. See how okay? Now take your shoe off. She's like, throw that thing. Now, Sarah's the middle of her foot. You actually take your sock off if you don't mind, because it'll be easier to see. The middle of her foot, right up to the straight as an arrow, that is the middle of her foot. So you tell me, is Sarah comfortable in these shoes? She is not. And if she wears them day in and day out, she's going to end up with back problems. Because her foot doesn't match her shoe. Her shoe goes like this and her foot goes straight. So it feels like she's in the wrong shoe all the time. So when Dr. Pascal taught me this, I was like, I'm going to go home and look at the bottom of all my shoes. And I swear, all of you women out there, we all have shoes that we love, but we only wear once in a while because they hurt our feet. And we can only wear them for 2 to 3 hours at a time, right? And then we have the shoes that we wear all the time that are super comfortable. So I look at the bottom of my foot, and I'm telling you right now, most people, 80% of the population, from what I've looked at, are a straight last. I go home and look at my closet. I start turning every shoe around. Literally 80% of my shoes were curved last. The 3 pairs that were the most comfortable are straight lasts. So I started to learn the brands that are straight last versus curved. Nike is mostly curved, and this is what Dr. Pascal taught us, that Nike's for runners, and they're in curved last. But most of them have a straight foot. So they're constantly creating shin splints, ankle issues, leg problems that causes back problems that causes all the way up because it's connected. All of it's connected. So if you have proper footing, I learned long ago when I was in my 20s to spend a lot of money on my shoes, because the more money I spent on my shoes, the less I was at the chiropractor, the acupuncturist, and the body workers, because I didn't need to work out what my feet were creating by wearing the wrong shoes. So number one is check your shoes, check your last. So switch with me real quick and just check, let's see Brianna's. Because she complained today about her feet and her shoes and her back as I told her what we were going to do. She's like, well, I want to know. Because, why? Why do you want to know? This is Brianna. Because my feet hurt. Oh, she's shy in front of the camera too. So back it up, sister. Good. So these are
Crocs.
Crocs. They're straight, actually. I happen to know Crocs. They're straight. Straight as an arrow. See that? It's even on both sides of the shoe. It's not curved one side or other. Now, let's just, as comparison, I'm really glad you had this. Do you see the difference, everybody? Here, and then here. Okay? Take your shoe off.
Your little,
She's been busy working today. She's quite straight. Look at that. Bam! That's half her foot and that's half her foot. It's rare to find somebody with a straight last. Thank you.
It's because I'm flat-footed.
I mean a curved last. The flat feet's another subject, but just knowing which shoe you should have, straight or curved. Your children's shoes should not be bought at Target because these are developing feet. The best thing you can do is wear no shoes. Because when you do that, your feet are constantly adjusting for the ground they're under. You're using all your muscles, you're using all your tendons to constantly readjust. You're strengthening your feet. And if you're in shoes all the time, your feet are weaker. And then if they're in curved, it's weaker. And then if that's curved and my foot's not right, what am I going to do? I'm going to compensate my hip. Then I might compensate here, and I might and next thing you know, I'm walking around going, I don't know, I have to go to the chiropractor and massage therapy so much. That's my good. Right? So, number one is I look at my shoes, and I make sure that I spend quality money on my shoes, just like the food, because these are grounding me. These are giving me stability. These are what I walk on every day. And the other thing is you don't wear the same shoes day in and day out. You change your shoes all the time. Because if you wear the same shoes over and over again, you'll create issues. You get your feet to move and change. I take my shoes off often, especially when I do body work. But as soon as I walk in our house, there are no shoes. And for the majority of the weekend, there are no shoes until I have to go out to the public. God bless Sarah. She's got stronger feet than I do. Number two is the bed I sleep in. I have spent a lot of money on my beds and pillows. If you wanted that pillow at your chiropractor, that costs $50 or $100, I own it. Because in 20 years, I've spent on every pillow that's out there that's adjustable, therapeutic. And none of them really worked for me. What worked for me was getting a proper bed. It wasn't about the pillow. And it was about supporting my body in a way where it was firm but soft. But I also make sure I don't have any pressure points. So we have a platform bed. We've learned that works the best for us. And I make sure there's no pressure points. If my body is laying there and I feel pressure points, I either need adjusted, I need body work, or I need to go do yoga and stretching and movements and get my fascia moving. Because when I wake up every day, I do 15 to 20 minutes of just moving and stretching, and I now call it getting the fuzz out, because I get all this popping and cracking, and it's from the time that I laid and getting all that out from laying weird. So make sure your bed's comfortable, make sure your shoes are comfortable. So I don't really know how to title this one, but it's your body mechanics, really. So this is something I learned in massage school, but I also have learned throughout my life. This, my CrossFit people might, okay, this is a proper squat in my dress, my skirt, right? So when we go to pick up things, doing this is exercise. When we go to pick up a box, it feels like exercise. So what do? You know what that is? Futuristic chiropractic appointments. Because you're not using your body, you're not using your strength. I do not have the luxury in my life to not have proper body mechanics. If I don't have proper body mechanics, whether it's my purse across my chest that's heavy and pulling me on one side, I will feel it in my fascia. I'm like that princess in the pea. As long as everything stays symmetrical and my body mechanics are good and I'm not overdoing any kind of one side or the other doing things, I'm ambidextrous. I use my hands to do both things all the time when I'm doing body work or whatever, because I don't want to create an issue in one side or the other. When I got in the car accident, I was a rower. She's looking at me for time, thank you. And when you row in a boat, you're rowing on one side. So I rowed like this for 2 years before my car accident. So this whole side of my body was super developed, and this was a little weaker. So as I got in the car accident and my vertebrae were compressed, I think back and go, would I ever got injured as bad as I did had I had an even musculature on both sides of my body? Because when I went through all my testing to all the neurologists and specialists and orthopedic specialists and pain specialists, they all looked at my body and they're like, are you aware that your muscles are bigger on this side than this side? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm a rower. Oh, that makes sense. But nobody said to me, well, that could be perhaps why your body, when it spun around in a vehicle, which wasn't a good idea, right? I mean, we rolled. That's not great. But had I not had the uneven musculature, it might not have caused such an injury so badly. So last night, we had a situation here at the office. Water was on the floor. We had to soap it up with all these blankets and towels, and it was put into a garbage bag. And at the end of the day, I grabbed the garbage bag to take it home to wash it because we had a water situation. So I'm walking out. I make about 2 steps, and the garbage bag is so heavy with all the wet, it starts to break apart. So I grab my left hand awkwardly, and I try to grab it to hold it. And it's weird and heavy, and it starts to fall, and I grab it, and I pick it up, and I throw it in my car. No harm, no foul. I go home, I wash it all, I get into bed. I lay in bed, I'm like, oh, my back's a little sore. That's weird. 4 o'clock in the morning, I literally thought Ian was stabbing me to death. I woke up in the morning, I was like, oh, my rib went out. Bottom line, why? Because I did an awkward movement. I didn't have proper body mechanics because I was trying to catch it from not falling because it was gross and I didn't want it to get all over the floor. So I grab it weirdly. I yank my fascia in the back. It pulls right at T8, by the way, which is where I had one of my compression fractures. It was exactly where it felt, where it came out. 5 years ago, when I painted or I did something where my rib went out, because this isn't the first time my ribs have gone out, it was a good 3 to 4 weeks before it would go in place. Today I went to see Dr. Fuller. He was kind enough to fit me right in. I was able to, he did some fascia work on me. It's still sore. Right here is where it was held. As soon as he found this spot and started opening it, literally my rib gave way. And I was like, I can stand up, I can breathe, and I can walk. I can now function for the rest of my day. My shoes this morning wholeheartedly because I wanted to make sure that I had good shoes that really make me feel strong and are straight and supportive, both in the last as well as the arch support. I always make sure my bed's good, and at 4 o'clock in the morning when I was feeling stabbed, my bed wasn't supporting me enough, so I went to my couch and I put a pillow behind my back and supported my ribs so it wasn't coming out all the time. The bed is key. And then my body mechanics, the whole day, I made sure my body mechanics were good. When I sat in the stool, I made sure I was holding myself up because I had done something to my fascia. So if you want to prevent going to the chiropractor, going to the acupuncturist for fixing broken things, make sure that you do all of these. Now the question becomes, because I'm a philosopher, why did that happen? Well, I could tell you 3 reasons it happened to me. One is, I got to see Dr. Fuller, and I hadn't seen him in a long time, and it was really good to see him, and that's another story for another day, but I was really glad to see Dr. Fuller. I hadn't seen him in probably 6 months. Number 2, because I was feeling so bad, I grabbed something off my shelf for me, and I realized one of my clients here that's here for the week needed it. So if I had not felt that bad, I wouldn't have remembered that she needed that and didn't realize I had it at my house. And number 3, Sarah's working here for the very first day. She's complaining about her back. I have in my notes that I'm going to do a talk about shoes. And I've not only educated all you, but I've educated 2 of my great staff members so they can not only do this for themselves, but they can educate you. Because we have to stay grounded in our life. And if your shoes aren't matching your feet, you're never going to stay grounded. You can be grounded with shoes on. It is definitely better without shoes, no doubt about it. The majority of us do wear shoes. And so please be mindful of your shoes. Please be mindful of buying quality shoes, getting somebody that actually knows how to fit you in a shoe. And flip-flops are not shoes. You want back problems, you want stomach issues, you want digestive issues, go ahead and wear your flip-flops. They're not great for you, not even a little bit. Bare feet are way better than flip-flops. So, any questions, comments, or concerns about feet, last, anything else? All right. Share this with your friends if they have leg cramps, if they have low back issues, if they don't sleep well. All of it could be related to the shoes that they're wearing or perhaps the shoes that they should not be wearing. Have a good night. See you next week.